So here is our favorite lol cow, Styx Hexenhammer, 666, aged 38. He looks like he's 68 here. My God. I think we can see why he wears the shooting glasses, sunglasses, whatever. The more of his face he covers, the better, because he looks hideous. He looks so prematurely aged that, having those big, giant Jackie O glasses does help cover up said premature aging. But now we have Styx here looking more like we think of him. Toothless, trailer living, white trash, a hoarder, goofball living in his parents' basement. This is more in line with what you think of. If you know Styx at all, if you know of his content creation and his story and his lore, this picture is much more apropos, don't you think? So if you wonder what happened to his tooth, his ex-girlfriend, former live-in lover, and, homeless broad, Nikki, punched him in the mouth and knocked his tooth out. If you believe what Styx says, it was because he simply woke her up from her midday nap, which she needed to rest for I don't know what. Apparently she has a full-time job working in a convenience store. And as we all know, if you're punching a cash register, you have to be on your feet for some reason all day. So, and she's quite plump. She's carrying around a lot of extra weight, more than just a few pounds. So if you're that big, if you're that overweight and out of shape and constantly sucking down the Lucky Strikes and the frickin' cannabis cigarettes and the Colt 40 malt liquors all day, yo, you're not going to be doing too good after 8 hours on your feet. So she needed her beauty sleep. And how dare Styx wake her up? So she apparently punched him in the face and knocked out a tooth. How is that possible? Well, Styx is sucking down booze and Lord knows what else, which rots your teeth pretty good, especially if you're not brushing and flossing on a regular basis, which I don't think he is, because he goes days, if not weeks, without showering, so why brush your teeth either, right? So I don't think it would take all that much to knock out a tooth, at least one of this guy's teeth, given his poor dental hygiene. Well, likely poor dental hygiene, looking at the color and shape and, the eaten down nature of his teeth via whatever caustic substances this guy is ingesting. You don't really have to have that hard a blow to break one of his teeth. But anyway, she knocked out a tooth. Styx says it was, because he woke her up. We'll get to that. She has her side, which we're going to get into in a second. Just an update. Tarl was not put in jail. It turns out he fled the jurisdiction of Vermont to avoid being put in jail because Louisiana was looking for him. And, he was being hunted down to give a pee sample. And there was also a hearing in the Virginia gun charge case, which we're also going to hear more about in this live stream. So that's going to be very entertaining. Should be interesting. Should be comedy gold for me to roast this guy on. He fled to New York City, apparently, Brooklyn more specifically, to stay with another one of his BPD broads, another one of his, e-girl followers, some broad who may actually, and now we can use this word legitimately, and not just as a pejorative, may actually be retarded. And you too, before you come after me for saying that word, it is a legitimate medical issue. It's a disorder, retardation. She's apparently, literally, a retard. Am I allowed to say that? I think I should be allowed to say that if it is actually true and describing the actual medical condition. So he moved in with some girl who, from what I've read, all the accounts I've seen online, is even dumber than Forrest Gump, which is, pretty dumb. He likes them dumb, as is evidenced by all these this cavalcade of broads we constantly see talking about how brilliant they are, like this Nikki broad. Because brilliant people live in their cars for years on end, yo! Don't you know? And would live with Tarl. Yeah, you're a genius. So he's went to hide out with this retarded chick in New York. Apparently this chick, though she is mentally challenged, that's the word we should be using, I guess, though the technical term is retarded, apparently. Apparently she has parents that are quite wealthy, or at least well off, and so I guess they provide a home where she lives alone. So at least she can brush her own teeth and comb her hair and cook her meals, even if it's in a very limited fashion. She does these things. That doesn't really take high IQ, you know. Dogs on the street can take care of themselves. Well, they got a 10 IQ. So, I mean, you know, it doesn't take a lot of IQ points to pop a Hungry Man dinner into the microwave and hit the 1. So she's able to live alone. She's not that mentally challenged that she could live with mommy and daddy, but apparently they provide her a home. But they don't live there with her. And Styx has moved in there, essentially, and is now staying with her. And he's calling it some kind of vacation. His last vacation, he calls it. By the way, wasn't this guy supposed to be dead by now? Didn't he say over a month ago that he had a month left to live? Gee, Styx, it looks like you're, outliving those terminal illness, the diagnosis, you said you had it from the doctor. I have a diagnosis from a doctor, and I'm terminal. I'll be dead in a month or less. Well, looks like you're beating the odds, buddy. So he fled the jurisdiction of Vermont, where he was supposed to attend a hearing. And his parents covered for him and said that he just had a seizure and had been taken to the hospital or something, or was in the hospital, even though during the time of this hearing, which was done on Zoom, that his mom did in his place, where she went on the Zoom call with the attorney, with the lawyers and the judge, and she covered for Styx and said he's not here because he just had a seizure. Apparently the father was also in the background. So I got to ask, who drove Styx to the hospital? If the mother and the father were at the house on the Zoom call, how'd Styx get to the hospital? They claimed he just had a seizure, like moments before. It was the implication, at least as far as I understand it. And then that same day or the next day, actually the same day, I think, maybe it was the next day. I forget the particulars, but not long after that, he was caught streaming live from this mentally challenged broad's house in Brooklyn. So, I don't know. He had a seizure, went to the hospital, and then flew to Brooklyn, New York in a very short span of time. Okay. And apparently he needs to provide 2 P tests by March 27th or something. Or is it February 27th? I'm not sure. But he has to provide a clean both alcohol test and drug test. That's probably why he was having the seizures. He was going off of alcohol, so it's called the detox or DTs. That's probably what the seizure was, if it ever happened. That is. I wouldn't be surprised if the mother just made it up, if Styx told her to say that, to explain his absence, and he really just skipped the jurisdiction, fled the authorities, as it were. Apparently he has another court date in March, and before then he has to provide a P test. Maybe it'll be sooner. Alcohol leaves your system pretty quickly, but cannabis, I mean, we know this guy tokes up on a regular basis, so is he going to be able to provide a pot-free sample before this court date? No. It stays in your system longer than that. And what if it's more than a P test? What if they do the hair follicle thing? Well, he's dead. He's dead in the water. He's screwed. He's going to jail. So, hard to say. He's facing prosecution on gun charges in Vermont and breaking the no-contact order with Samantha Keister, even though she contacted him. This is the ex-girlfriend that he supposedly assaulted, and then she pressed charges in New Orleans, and then there was a no-contact order, which he breached, and this guy, he can't stay out of trouble. So that case is pending. He missed 2 drug tests. He's got to take 2 clean ones. He's not going to be able to. Well, P test, if it's just a P test, he should be able to pass. But if they do a hair follicle, he's done. He's done! And as for the gun charge, well, you're going to see this stuff is much more serious. We also have more updates on the incident with the Nikki Turkovich, the most recent slam pig. that lived with him. She's not the first. Samantha also lived there prior. Oh my God. This guy, he goes to these low value, low quality, 1 to 3 on an SMV scale broads at a very regular pace. But anyway, that's it for our update there on Tarl. Let's move on to his more recent activities. Yeah, he don't look too good. That's a bad. I mean, it's a fuzzy picture, but wow, that's bad. Okay, so this is the most recent entanglement that Tarl has had with the police earlier this month, and it involves Nikki Turkovic, his most recent slam pig, who lived in his house for 7 months and paid rent for 7 months, to the grand total of $400 a month, $2,800, I guess. I mean, a lot of people pay that in 1 month. That's some cheap rent. But she wasn't able to hold it together because she absolutely positively detested Tarl. She couldn't stand the guy. She pretended to like him, to love him. It's all lip service, though, so that she could hopefully promote herself, promote her brand, get some social media clout, promote her crappy YouTube channel that she made zero effort to actually post on or create content for. So she's extremely lazy. She's a pothead. She's got a lot of vices, also a drunk. Just the kind of broad you would expect Tarl to be with, about on her level. But she thinks she's way above Tarl, coming from living in her car and, sucking down the cold 40s and whatever pot she could get her hands on in exchange for BJs. But anyway, apparently she knocked out Tarl's tooth, and here's the way she says it went. Turkovic advised that she did hit Warwick, a.k.a. Tarl, a.k.a. Styx, Hex and Hammer 666, a.k.a. worshipper of owl demons named Stolas, but it was only because he threatened her. Yeah. Okay. So I, meaning I guess the cop, asked Turkovic how the fight started, and she advised she didn't understand. Didn't understand how the fight started? Okay. As she was trying to leave the room. How could you not understand how the fight started? She was gathering things to leave. Okay. Turkovic advised that Warwick had a problem with it and started fighting. He had a problem with her leaving the room? I don't know, man. Have you seen this broad? I'd be begging, pleading, praying that she leave, which I think everybody in that house was, including Tarl. Turkovic advised she told him to stop. Warwick started arguing, and then Warwick threatened her with violence. I don't know if I believe this. Yeah, we know Tarl is capable of it. He allegedly chased his wife down the streets of, the Netherlands with a dagger. But, we saw that video of him with that Sam broad with her bloodied nose, telling her she'd made her bed so now she can lie in it. But, I don't know. Where it involves this Turkovic broad, I'm skeptical. Turkovic advised Warwick has weapons. Yeah, I believe that. And he always likes to say, I'll cut you. I don't know. That sounds kind of Gennaro brand. I don't know if I buy this. Turkovic advised she batted him because she was afraid and had nowhere else to go. This sounds made up. It's a general, vague crap. Oh, I'll cut you. I don't know. Turkovic advised she needs emergency shelter or something to take her away from this situation. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if the cops actually believe her. I think Tarl has become something of a lol cow in the local police community, if not the community at large there, though I wouldn't be surprised if most of the people in Rutland know who he is. So I asked Turkovic what she meant by the fight started. Was it verbal or physical? Turkovic advised it was verbal, but Warwick was fighting because he goes to throwing, slamming, or punching things. I don't know how effective he could be in any of these things. Have you seen this guy? I'd be surprised if he could throw a softball 10 miles an hour. And a punch from him? You'd barely feel it, even if you're abroad. I asked if that happened this morning. She advised yes, then shrugged and said he told her to go. She just sat on the bed. Didn't she say she was trying to... Wait, I'm getting confused here. Now she's contradicting herself. Didn't she just say in the prior paragraph that she tried to leave and he stopped her? Now she's saying that she sat on the bed and that's what started it because she was being obstinate? Okay. Yeah, that sounds like the kind of superior on-high observation you would get from Tarl. White trash that thinks he's Socrates. I made sure Turkovic could stay warm in her vehicle and then turned around to go back to the house. As I was walking toward the house, I observed a male I recognized from previous law enforcement involvement. He's infamous in Rutland with the cops. As Tarl Warwick exit the home. Yeah, probably in his bare feet, I wouldn't be surprised. I observed Warwick, no doubt wearing that pirate hat. I observed Warwick was holding something in his hand, and when I got closer, I observed it was paper towels, and there was what appeared to be blood on them. Okay. Did she bloody his nose also, or just knock out the tooth? By the way, the tooth didn't get knocked out that day. It was supposedly loosened or cracked, and then it fell out a couple days later. It fell out after he got to Brooklyn. Anyway, he goes on to say, the police officer, we entered the residence, and I asked Warwick if he needed a medic. He advised no. Before I could ask a question, Warwick stated she flat out decked me. I believe that. Warwick advised she, Turkovic, said he woke her up. See, I find this more believable. I know a lot of people out there believe that Tarl had to be the instigator, but I've had personal conversations with this Nikki Turkovic, and I actually believe this. I actually believe she did flat out deck him. Just because he woke her up. I 100% believe that. And then he made a pounding motion with his right arm and stated she punched me in the effing face. Warwick advised his tooth was probably going to fall out. Okay. Does he have experience in this regard? To know that? Well, maybe it was loose. I don't know, but it looks like it didn't all come out. Like the root and everything just looked like about half of it came out. But the root's still in there. Anyway, and his nose was not doing so well. Okay. Yeah, it's got to be a fist that punches in the face because to bloody both his nose and his... I guess it's possible, but she says she didn't punch him with her fist. I don't know. But a woman has a smaller hand in general. Even this hand-sized fist that this broad probably has, as big as she is, probably still smaller than your average guy's hand. I don't know. I observed there was dry blood around the nose, and Warwick, upon inspection, I observed his front tooth was loose. Interesting. Okay. And this is Nikki Turkovic's most recent post on Kiwi Farms, talking about Warwick's parents. So Ed, which I believe is Charles' father, does not smoke at all. He beat alcoholism many years ago, way before marrying Pam. That would be Charles' mom, I guess. Somebody named F95 says, I think she found someone who could, or more likely, fake to convincingly talk philosophy on her level, and she probably saw him as a stepping stone to improve the popularity of her channel. This guy's saying this because I've said this, and yeah. This is Styx's ex-wife. So previous to being married to Tara, Liz was a capped woman. Apparently, Liz was married prior to marrying Styx. And Nikki says she had a guy cut her checks every month. See, I've talked about this before, and I have, I believe, accurately pointed out from my own assessment that Tarl's ex-wife is nothing more than a better-looking, slightly more stable version of these broads. She's an opportunist. She was looking for somebody to be a stepping stone whose coattails she could ride to fame, to fortune, to popularity for her supposed brilliant takes on philosophy. Yeah, brilliant takes about philosophy from a woman. In the Netherlands, no less. Oh, yeah, those socialists there, they have a real keen grasp of how the world really works. Yeah. State pays for child care, health care. Oh, yeah, yeah. These entitled cunts, yeah, they know how the world works. They're not a bunch of commies. Half commies at least. No, no, no. So she needed somebody to help her spread her wonderful, brilliant, philosophical gems to the world. And that was Styx. He had how many followers did he have at that time? 500,000? 250,000? Quite a bit. He had a decent amount of following on other social media platforms. She saw him as a stepping stone to spread her philosophy, Elizabeth, philosophy channel, which is garbage, and so her takes, which is why she needed somebody like Tarl. If her takes were so brilliant, if she was so brilliant, if she was so, brilliant at philosophy, she'd be halfway famous on her own. She'd be famous on her own. She's not a bad-looking broad. It's very easy for good-looking broads with decent takes on YouTube, even bad takes, to become popular and famous. That she couldn't do that on her own as a good-looking broad tells you just how good her takes were. Not so good. So she got with our bridge troll. She got with her bridge troll, Styx, because she thought he could help her become famous and popular and get more attention and validation. Didn't work out. Big shocker there. But before Styx, she had a sugar daddy husband who cut her checks every month, supposedly. Apparently she was married to the guy. She was married before Styx, at the very least. I don't know if this guy that was cutting her checks was the husband, or maybe they were separated, divorced. I don't see him cutting checks for her if they're married and living together. But anyway, I don't understand why he would do this if they weren't married, so maybe they were. Yeah, so Nikki's lacking some information as well. I read some stuff somewhere else that said that they were married and he was kind of like a sugar daddy. So, yeah. Then that would have meant that she had to divorce him before getting married again. But I know that even after she remarried, she continued to collect checks. Maybe it was alimony? I don't know how that works over there in the Netherlands. And her new partner had to mention it and tell her that she should stop receiving them. Would that new partner be Styx? I don't know. It's unclear whether or not they even had S. Okay, so probably some sugar daddy that she hooked up with after she got divorced. I don't know. It's not clear. I know he didn't live with her. Maybe the guy just wanted a marriage on paper to look normally good. Okay, I was under the impression they'd already tried that and she blew it. I don't know what that's in reference to. Oh, the Kino Casino stuff. The moment that I heard they wanted me on the show, I contacted them. Okay? It took weeks to get a response. This is something I don't understand about those Kino Casino guys. The PPP guy, Ash, very talented guy, very funny. The Worski guy, he's not very talented. He doesn't have much in the way of good takes. He's pretty boring. Without Fat Boy, he wouldn't have a pot to piss in. But I don't understand, even with as successful as they are, and they got tons of money rolling in. Apparently, one pay pig alone in a recent show gave him $4,000 in one show, and that was just one pay pig. Apparently, they don't seem to understand. You got to spend money to make money. And I actually saw the stream where they offered these broads $10K. Now, that was for both of them, or a combination of both of them and Sam's ex-husband as well. So I guess they could claim, I guess they could say, hey, we made that offer of $10K for this entire group of individuals, and since all those people didn't agree, well, we're not beholden to keep that promise to, offer that much cash. And they offered, she says they offered $10K for Sam and I. Wasn't it Sam's ex-husband Dylan as well? But then they'd only pay $500 each. Well, yeah, that's not... Okay, first of all, they were never going to pay you $10,000. I saw that stream, at least the end of it. I saw where they made that offer. They were never going to give you $10,000. They would have found some way to... they would have found excuses, some way to wiggle out of it. And by the way, this was right when Tarl got arrested. This was at the height of his lolcaldom. This was his last arrest for the gun charge. Was it December? Last year or something, end of November, around there. And if you had struck while the metal was hot, you might have gotten more money. I'm fairly certain that if you had contacted them then and they had gotten the information, yet this is also what I don't understand. I have looked for these guys' contact information. They're impossible to get a hold of, or at least very difficult. I would think that if they want to continue being successful and they don't want to get stale, and they don't want their content creation to get old and boring as they continue to talk about Quarter Pounder Hambly, the quartering, and Styx, that they probably should post more up-to-date, reliable contact information so that people with juicy stories and juicy gossip can get a hold of them. Because if they don't do that, I would think they would have something very simple like that posted online. I mean, talk about the height of hubris. Oh, we're so great. We're so wonderful. Our success is immortal. We'll never need outside help or gossip or anybody to send us content or no. This success we have is just going to continue ad infinitum without any way for people to contact us, give us information, cough up juicy gossip. No, I mean, come on, guys. You got to do the bare minimum at least. You got to do the basics. You don't even have reliable contact information online. What's wrong with you? So it took weeks, and by that time, apparently, they only offered her $500. I actually kind of doubt it. I doubt that she struck while the metal was hot. I spoke to her not too long ago, and she waited quite a while to try and contact them. And then when she did, they only offered her $500, and the main reason for that was because this dumb broad, Nikki Turkovic, by that point had already been spewing her bile about Tarl for months at that point. I mean, by then, she had already spilled the beans on so much of the crap going on behind the scenes. You know, Fat Boy and Worski were like, why pay her? She's already given us the goods for free. I can't blame them. So yeah, they only offered you $500. You gave away thousands of dollars at juicy gossip, you dumb bimbo. But anyway, as for Sam, she was never able to successfully contact them. Yeah, she's not too bright. Neither of these broads is too bright. So she started paying for super chats to get their attention. Yeah. This is a broad that can't pay her own rent, but she's going on their show. People that offered her hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to come on and tell her story. But she's actually going into their chat and paying them to make rude and undermining comments about Tarl, which is just like the height of stupidity. They offered you money. They could be paying you to do this, but instead you're paying them. How dumb are you? Next, I heard they were offering $2K. I tried contacting them again. No response. It's probably also a lie. I plan on meeting with my lawyer. Okay, so, yeah. Yeah. It's the Keno Casino F-heads who offered much more money and then reneged. Nah, sweetheart. You waited months, weeks if not months, to try and contact them. And then you tried for weeks, and they didn't respond, probably because, you'd already given away the farm at that point. And eventually they were like, we're having a slow news day. Fat Boy Jeremy isn't doing anything all that interesting. Tarl, yeah, he's not really putting out anything that we can gossip on either. Maybe we'll have you on later in the week and give you $500. And she's like, no, you promised me thousands. Yeah, well, that was before you gave us so much juicy info for free. Now we don't feel you have thousands of dollars of insider information to offer, which she didn't. So, yeah, they didn't renege on anything. All right. Now, this is in regards to the gun charge. So, Tarl says that this never happened, of course. But the Samantha broad says in the police report she filed, like a year or more later, that this is what happened. Now, I take all this with a grain of salt because she only filed this police report after Tarl came to her house and banged her in breach of the no contact order from Louisiana, I might add. What an idiot. By the way, this girl ain't got no magic poon, okay? She's had 3 kids. She's super post-war. She's like Tarl's age, 35, 38. She's an old broad, She's getting post-war. She's hagged out. Hard life, bopped out 3 watermelons, so there ain't nothing magic down there. So I don't know what he sees in this broad that he would risk his life, that he would risk his freedom, but she filed these charges after that, after he came over and banged her because she felt like she was going to unalive herself. And then after he banged her and probably said, "You're my love. You're the only person in my life. You're the only one for me." And then she found out that he was living with the ham pig Vicky Turkovic. And then she got angry and pressed these charges. So I don't know how true this is. But anyway, Keister explained that she made a comment to Tarl that angered him, and he proceeded to throw a blanket over her. Okay. And then he threw items at her, which she believed to include a heavy singing bowl. What is that? What is that? One of those, they're like these brass or bronze bowls that you have like a wooden like thing and you rub it around the outside and they vibrate. And a magic 8-ball. Tarl has a magic 8-ball. Is my future bright? No. I don't need no magic 8-ball to tell me that. Keister could not recall if where the item struck her. Wouldn't you be able to recall that? I mean, if I got hit in the head with a magic 8-ball, I would recall I got hit in the head. That's sus. That's kind of sus. I would remember where I got hit. I don't know. Maybe she was all stressed out and, cortisol overload. I don't know. I get hit with a singing bowl. I'm going to know where, but it's just me, I guess. I don't know. She couldn't recall where the item struck her and stated this did not cause her pain. Aren't singing bowls big, heavy bronze affairs? I get hit with something like that, I'm going to be in pain. Okay, that's also strange. Keister then explained that when she took the blanket off herself, the defendant was holding his firearm and had it pointed at her. Apparently this is a Glock. Okay. Keister, that's her real name, by the way. Yeah. Keister, buttocks. Yeah. Make of that what you will. Buttocks explained hearing the defendant cock the trigger. These guns don't have triggers. Glocks don't have. I mean, they don't have an external trigger you can cock. It's not a 1911. It's not a Colt 45 or a Python. It's not a 357 Magnum revolver. It's a semi-auto. There is no trigger to cock. Strange. Maybe she means he, I don't know. This is weird. So anyway, she says he cocked the trigger. But advised she didn't know much about firearms. Okay. Anyway, Keister stated the defendant told her he would shoot her dead. Maybe he did. I don't know. I don't think any of these people are trustworthy. I don't believe much of what any of them have to say. I take everything they say with a heavy grain, bowling ball size grain of salt. Keister stated that her mindset was, if she was going to die, she was going to die. Keister then stood up and told the defendant to do it, which I interpreted to mean telling the defendant to, in fact, shoot her. Okay. The defendant did not shoot her and proceeded to sit down. And then Keister went upstairs and cried. Upstairs. Upstairs where? Is this Tarl's house? I thought Tarl lived in a one-story house. Are there 2 floors in this house? I don't know. Oh, it's bigger than I thought. The defendant... So I think this happened while she was living with Tarl and his parents. And this was post him leaving the Netherlands and dumping his opportunistic ex-wife that was only with him to try and ride his coattails to fame and fortune. Seems to be the story with many, if not all, of his exes. And didn't work out for any of them. I think part of it's because you've overestimated just how popular Tarl is. He's not even famous or rich. How do you think you were going to ride his coattails to that when he doesn't even have that? But anyway, the defendant said he was going to leave, and Keister told him he needed to calm down. Okay. Sounds like good advice. Before he did anything, because it was not okay for him to pull a gun out on her. Why didn't you call the cops? Somebody pulls a gun on me, you're going to jail that night. If I don't just kill you outright. You pull a gun on me, you're dead. Either I'm dead or you're dead. I'm not just going to stand there and say, shoot me. I'm going to try to evade, disarm, and I'm going to put that gun up your ass and pull the trigger. Well, she's a woman, though. And not a Marvel woman either. You know, those 110-pound soaking wet broads that can beat up 250-pound dudes and throw them around like rag dolls. No. She's an actual woman. Allegedly. So, yeah, guess you couldn't do that. Keister told the defendant she should be calling police, but she didn't. That sounds like an odd thing to say. Why didn't you just call the police? You called them a year plus later. So you have no problem with calling cops. Keister stated that then the defendant proceeded to sob and had at one time pointed the firearm at himself. It's a shame he didn't use it on himself. But then, of course, we would not have this wonderful lolcow content to avail ourselves of. So, I believe this is from the same incident, and this is the cops interviewing Tarl. Apparently, he didn't have much to say. One of the few instances where he employed his brain. So, I then responded back to the Rutland Town Police Department, during which time the defendant stated he wanted his attorney. And he had an attorney at that time. Now he can't afford one, apparently. But did want to speak with me. Okay? So I brought the defendant into an interview room in the booking area of the police department, and I read the defendant his Miranda warnings. The defendant then waived his right to counsel. Okay, I throw out what I said about him employing his brain. He agreed to speak to the police officer. Moron. I love the hubris. I just love the arrogance, the Dunning-Kruger. This moron, this dummy, this half-wit has way too high an opinion of himself. He thinks he can handle the cops. I mean, some people might be able to. Cops generally ain't all that bright, but neither is Tarl. Let's be honest. He signed a Miranda warning form indicating he waived his rights. Oh, God. The defendant declined to answer questions relating to when he last had contact with Keister, as well as the discharge of his firearm. He acknowledged residing with Keister on Hazel Street. He denied having ever pointed a firearm at Keister or himself. I see. Okay. So there's more in relation to the gun charge. This is more from the statement. Keister stated that when the firearm went off, the defendant's parents, a.k.a. Tarl's mommy and daddy, were downstairs in the basement. After the firearm went off, the defendant's father came into the room to ask what happened, as he heard a ruckus. And the defendant told his father he misfired his firearm. Interesting. Keister stated that after this, the defendant tried to stand up, but due to his level of intoxication, he was unable to, and immediately fell down. So, was this something that happened before they agreed to and then actually moved in together? I think so. So, she was living with Tarl, with his parents. He pointed a gun at her, then at himself. Then he fired the firearm in the house, and then she agreed to move in with him, and then he assaulted her, and then that's when she decided to call the cops and file these reports, the assault from New Orleans, and make it so he couldn't live there because no contact order, he obviously can't live there, and then he continued to pay her bills. Wow, these are messed up broads. Somebody points a gun at me and threatens to blow my head off. I'll tell you one thing I'm not doing with them. Moving in together. Anyhow, this is further information in regards to the most recent case. What I just read was the gun charge that supposedly happened over a year ago, and that Sam just recently decided to press charges on because she found out that Tarl was living with, Ham Pig, as I refer to her, the Toothless Wonder, Nikki Turkovich. So anyway, the following is a summary of her sworn written statement. The full statement will be attached to this affidavit. Turkovic advised today the headphones were bothering Tarl, so she was going to take her things and go to her car. Headphones were bothering Tarl? Why would you need to go to your car? Turkovic advised this was not enough, but Warwick continued to yell and fight with her. Turkovic advised Warwick threatened her by saying he would make her leave, he would destroy her, and he would call the cops. So this kind of clashes. I mean, wait a second. So she was going to take her things, go to her car. Turkovic advised this was not enough. He continued to yell and fight with her. Turkovic advised Warwick threatened her by saying he would make her leave. Didn't she say in that prior statement that I read that she wanted to leave and he wouldn't let her, but now he's trying to make her leave? This doesn't make sense. There's a lot of contradictions here. He would destroy her. Now that sounds like Tarl. I'm going to cast a spell on you. Yeah. Turkovic advised Warwick, asked if she wanted to be punched or cut. Interesting. Kind of reminds me of that Good Will Hunting movie where Will was talking to the therapist and talking about one of his, prior stepdads. Not stepdads. You've got not a stepfather. You get into the system and you're in the system. So essentially, one of the guys he was living with, was getting a check from the state in returns for taking care of him. You want the belt or the wrench, and he would choose the wrench every time because F him. So you want the punch or the cut? You want the fist or the sword? I don't know. This sounds kind of made up. Sounds like she got this from Good Will Hunting. Turkovic advised Warwick, said he would cut her. He then went to the side of the bed where he kept his sword. Sword he doesn't even know how to use. I guess you don't have to know a lot if the other person doesn't have one. Right. Turkovic advised she got onto the bed and prevented him from getting the sword. It was beside the bed? Or how would getting onto the bed stop that? It was under the mattress, maybe? By grabbing his arms and holding him? What kind of ham hock is this broad that she can bear hug Tarl and actually hold him? Well, he is, pretty weak and pathetic. So maybe she could. I don't know. But she's older than him. But anyway, Turkovic advised she inadvertently bopped him in the face, causing him to fall into the bed. I mean, bopped? Enough to knock out a tooth? She advised she did not hit him with a closed fist, but her wrist. So she hit him once, but he was bleeding from the nose and had a tooth knocked out? So, I got a pretty big fist, but I'm an actual man. I'm not a, half-demon warthog like this broad. Maybe as a half-demon warthog, she got a bigger hand than me. But I kind of doubt it. But her gender is definitely female, demon warthog or no. I don't think she has a bigger fist. She's going to have a smaller one. Could you bloody the nose and knock out a tooth? I could. But could she? With her wrist? I don't know. If it's an inadvertent bop, would it do that? This sounds like somebody trying to underplay an intentional action and play it off as an unintentional accident to mitigate responsibility, even though she's claiming it was self-defense. I mean, what would it matter if it was a closed fist if it was self-defense? This seems very contrived to me. Like she's going to extra steps to try and mitigate responsibility. Like it's not enough that I was defending myself from a dude who was going for a sword. The strike was also totally, completely inadvertent and not my fault, and I was only trying to protect myself, and it wasn't a closed fist, which would sound intentional and might make me look guilty, even though I'm not guilty because it's self-defense and he was grabbing a sword and I had nothing. It was an unintentional bop with my wrist. What? This sounds like BS. But more importantly, it dazed Warwick so she could escape. So I guess this story is why the DA decided not to press charges, or probably won't press charges. I think they know Tarl too well in this town as well. So, yeah, they're more likely to believe her, I guess, after his checkered past with Rutland PD. All of the DV accusations. Yeah. Do I believe her? No. Anyway, there's more. Yeah. Anyhow, let's do a deep dive into Tarl Warwick and his finances, because to get out of jail, I think this was in relation to the gun charge, he had to give some personal financial data. And this is interesting. I think this, I don't know what this is about. Maybe this is in relation to a bond. Like, I guess they have to set bond or bail or something, so they have to know how much you make, how much you have at hand. I don't know. I don't know why they asked for this information, but that would be my guess. Anyway, do you receive public assistance? Tarl says no. Any family members living with you receive assistance? Yes. So his mom and dad are on public assistance? I thought that Tarl hated the welfare state. As long as the welfare state lets him live under its roof, I guess he's okay with it. Current monthly income, gross income from wages. You, as in Tarl, 0. Well, that sounds about right. He's never had a real job. Other family household members living with you, 2,500. So his parents combined get 2,500 a month. And what? Is that maybe Social Security? I know the father was in the military. Was he in long enough to get a decent amount of retirement? Is this from a pension, from a job? Is this combinatively a pension from the military or a job or Social Security or all of the above? I mean, if they live in a house that has 2 stories and a basement, it's decently sized enough. I guess 2,500 might not be enough to pay all the bills. Maybe not. I don't know if they own it outright or they still pay a mortgage. I have no idea. So, yeah, maybe they do need assistance. Well, with Tarl living with them. So maybe he gets assistance, but, secondarily through them. So they're like his, proxy welfare. Yeah, he gets welfare via proxy. I see. Self-employment, business income other than wages, 7,000. 7,000? I don't know. Does anybody believe that Tarl is getting $7,000 a month? I know how YouTube works. Maybe there was a time when I was making thousands on YouTube, but this was 2016, man. And then I got booted off the platform and wasn't able to get my channel back for almost 8 years. And by then, well, my time had passed. But I don't think he's making $7,000. And what's this 4,000? Public assistance? No. But his parents get 1,500 in public assistance. Really? Wow. Damn. Okay. Total monthly income, 11,000. What? Total income in the past 12 months, $132,000? What? Where's the money going, Tarl? Oh, yeah, he's got his wife in the Netherlands. I think he pays her support. Let's look at his expenses. If yes, please explain, is your income in the last 30 days significantly different from your monthly income? If yes, explain the circumstances on the next page, which we don't get to see. Cash assets, checking account, $900. What? Cash assets, total liquidity on hand, $900. $900? Tarl only has $900. What's going on here, man? Lucky Strikes and $3 Thunderbird wine that your wino drinks doesn't cost all that much, even if you are a big-time alcoholic. I mean, maybe if you're buying 12-year-old scotch every other day, but $900. He has $900 in his checking account. Wow. I guess his YouTube revenue hasn't hit yet. It hits on like the 21st of the month. Holy shit! I got more money than Tarl, and I'm broke. What's going on here? I'm a broke friggin' mofo, and I'm richer than Tarl. How is this possible? What's going on here? Let's look at his expenses. If all adults living with you receive public assistance, it is not necessary to fill out the expenses section below. Okay, rent or mortgage. Rent, he pays $800 in rent. So he claims. Electric, he pays $0. What? He pays no utilities? Phone, $50. That's his Motorola. That's his, that's his monthly nut, right? That's his cell phone. Food, $500. $500? Seems like a lot. I don't know. Is that normal? Probably buys a lot of pre-packaged crap. Child support, $2,900. $2,900 for child support? Holy crap! Property taxes, he doesn't know. I thought you said you paid your parents' property tax, Tarl. You don't know what it is, but you pay it. Other expenses, $100. That can't be booze and pot. That's going to be a lot higher. That's at least 3 times that. Anybody out there think he's only spending $500 a month on booze? Anyway, total expenses. Jesus, most of that's child support. What the hell? That's insane, yo. He's got to be paying that voluntarily. There's no court. I mean, what court is going to mandate $2,900, especially for the Netherlands, where they have social welfare assistance out the yin-yang? You can get all sorts of free goodies in the Netherlands if you're a mother, especially a single mother. I mean, $2,900 American? How could an international court impose this? Could it be imposed? Is Tarl paying this willingly without some kind of court order? Let me know. Because I very much doubt that. Tarl does not seem like that magnanimous and generous a guy. This looks like a court-ordered amount because it's absurdly high, way more than a kid would need, especially in the Netherlands, where a lot of that shit is provided by the state. But you wouldn't even get that much in America. I mean, for one kid? I don't know. Is it based off income? And again, what income has this guy got? I mean, at the end of the day, after you factor in everything else, he's got $900 in the bank. What's going on here? I notice he doesn't even have a car or a car payment because he gave his car away to the broad that put him in jail and then required him to fill out this telling crap. Wow. $900 in the bank. Okay. So you can see what I was talking about for yourselves. I didn't have screen capture on, but here is Tarl's personal financial information. Dude claims to make $132,000. He claims to have made that in 2025. Total lie. Nobody believes that. And he pays $2,900 in child support. And has now what I do believe is the $900 in his bank account. Though then again, maybe he was making $132,000 a year, paying Samantha Keister's rent in full, or at least in part, half of that. And if he was doing that, in addition to this absurd child support and all these other expenses, then yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know. Let's do the math. I'm going to do the math. Okay, folks, it's time for the realists, philosophers, It Ain't Mathin' segment, where we take a look at Tarl Warwick's finances and see what the hell's going on here, because the math ain't mathin', yo. So Tarl claims to have made $132,000 last year, or $11,000 a month, even though his self-employment income is only $7,000. So there's an extra $4,000. Maybe that comes from the books he edits or has published. I do not know. There's quite a bit of information missing. Okay, so let's first look at his Sam rent. So he paid $1,500 a month times 6 equals $9,000. So this giant simpadoodle paid $9,000 up front for Samantha to have a place to live after she booted him out and pressed charges on him for apparently hitting her with a cell phone, which I'm supposed to believe hurt more than a singing bowl. Made of heavy bronze. Okay. And then for the next 6 months, he paid half that. Okay. So, Sam rent $9,000 plus half of $9,000, $4,500 equals $13,500. So, Giant Simperoo Tarl in the year of 2025 spent more than 10% of his income, around 10%, on Samantha Keister's rent for a grand total of $13,500. That's $13,500 he does not have in a bank account that is currently at $900. Okay, next. So, Tarly boy also other expenses, $500 a month. I mean, okay. He apparently has $4,750 a month in expenses. All right. $4,750 times 12 equals $57,000 a year, more than the majority of Americans make in a year. And that's just his expenses, even though he lives with his parents. Pays $800 a month. Monthly expenses. Wow. So $57,000. Okay. So, Tarl, 57 and 13.5. Quite a bit he's not telling us. 57,000, what the courts know about, plus 13,500. Equals 70,500. Okay. So, we have a grand total of $70,500 spent that we know of in 2025. He claims to have made $132,000 that year. So, $132,000 minus $70,500 for a grand total. Whoa, that's plus, excuse me. So, $132,000 minus $70,500 equals $61,500. So, Tarl, after all the expenses that we know about, i.e. paying Samantha Keister's rent, and all his own expenses, come out to a grand total of $70,500 minus that from his claimed income, which might be true. He should have $61,500 in his bank account. But what does he have in his bank account? $900. Hello. Okay. All right. Minus 900 equals. So what happened to the other $60,600? You're missing $60,600, Tarl. What'd you spend it on? Well, we know that he gave Samantha Keister his car. Did he have car payments on that still, or was it paid off? Is he paying the insurance on it? I would almost certainly guarantee it, because he is the biggest simp on planet Earth. What are his other? But that's not that much. Even if this broad is a terrible driver, which is probably true, couldn't be more than $200 a month. I mean, that leaves him almost $60,000. What happened to $60,000, Tarl? I don't know. Do you think he spent that much money on booze? Is it possible? I mean, I guess he's buying 12-year-old scotch every day. Absolutely. So, that is the Realist Philosophers, the Math, 8 Mathin' segment. He's missing 60,000 and change, yo. No big deal. No big dealio. So, as far as Tarl's real name, it apparently is Tarl Warwick. His child's name is apparently Artemis. Oh my God. Age 3. All his personal info is here, including, address, phone number, which I'm not going to reveal. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, it's not screen capturing, I don't think. No. Says he's employed and works 60 hours a week. Tarl, you ain't working no 60 hours a week. Get the hell out of here. That's 60 hours. You might be drunk 60 hours a week. You might drink 60 hours a week. Spend the other 60 in the, toilet vomiting and on your ass, but you ain't working 60 hours. He's self-employed author and video streamer. So cringy. Are you currently on probation or parole? Yes. Woo! The cell phones just keep on coming, baby. Date of birth, January 20th, 1988. He looks much older. Okay, so from what I understand, this is Mel, the mentally challenged meat puppet that Tarl is currently banging and staying on a work vacation with, an extended vacation from his non-work, his difficult job of getting drunk and then rambling aimlessly for hours about minutiae and banal crap, and then cutting it up in very low res and low quality, and then posting it on YouTube. And that's the work, that's the job he needs to escape, essentially his life. And this is who he's staying with. And this is basically the type of broad that Tarl gets with, low IQ, intellectually challenged, like that JF Gariepi guy, who allegedly, some people believe, unalived his wife. But anyway, this chick apparently wrote a poem. Oh God, this is some cringy stuff. But let's just, like a Band-Aid, pull it off real quick, get it over with. Yeah, here we go.
This is a poem I made for my friend Clarice's Frederick's birthday in August. She's at Instagram at oldieschick16. The poem is titled A Magical Journey.
And this is an addition. Is this a symptom of the mental retardation, or I mean, is this speech impediment a separate issue in addition to being mentally challenged? I mean, that's the case. Wow. I mean, just wow, man. Talk about getting a shitty hand. Now, this chick I might be able to feel sorry for. Somebody this mentally challenged might not actually be able to be faulted for getting with somebody like Tarl. Their IQ is so low, they're not able to make rational, coherent decisions on their own. So, I gotta wonder, is what Tarl is doing technically grape? Considering this broad has the intellectual capacity of a 12-year-old, apparently, who looks like she's had a nose job. But anyway, okay, let's hear this poem. From this most recent slam pig of Tarl's.
Birthdays are spectacular. They celebrate you getting another year wiser, making it another trip around the sun. This year we congratulate you making 32 trips around the sun. 32 summers, 32 springs, 32 Christmases, 32 birthdays, and 32 years with your family and friends.
She can do math. I mean, she knows they're all 32. I guess that's something, I guess.
Birthdays are spectacular. They celebrate you getting another year wiser.
Didn't she already say that? What is this, a crappy 80s pop song? Gonna say it 3 times now? What is this, a stanza? What are we doing here?
Making it another trip around the sun. Every memory you make throughout all your time on Earth is truly magical. It is a collage of all your accomplishments throughout your lifetime. Birthdays are spectacular.
That's the 3rd time now. Okay.
They celebrate you getting another year wiser, making it another trip around the sun.
Apparently the wisdom isn't cumulative in Tarl's case. It's just a lot of wasted time and doesn't learn anything.
When you honor your birthday each year, you get a wish for your next journey around the planet Earth. Use it wisely. Birthdays are spectacular. They celebrate getting another year wiser.
Isn't that 4 now?
Making it another trip around the sun.
She likes the trip around the sun part. Okay, so this is the mental giant that Tarl is now with. I guess he got tired of broads that challenge him. And I can't really blame him. Guys don't really want to be with broads that are constantly nagging and criticizing and snaking and undermining them. But boy, this is 180 degrees in the opposite direction. Yikes. Well, there you go. That is our latest update on Tarl. He's in Brooklyn, New York, apparently, with this broad who lives in a house that her parents own or rent for her, and she's mentally challenged, and I don't know if she has a job or a career or something. Apparently not. Apparently her and Tarl have long conversations into the wee hours of the morning about what? I have no idea. But anyway, this is his flavor of the month. Okay, so let me know what you think of this latest update in the comment section. And please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. Give me a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, leave a comment. I hear it's good for the algorithm. I have seen no evidence of that being the case, but who knows? And yeah, I am the Realist Philosopher, and I wish you all a good and pleasant day. Take care.